Good day folks, my name is Sean and this is Air Photography. Today we're going to be doing a quick unboxing of the new Zino Mini Pro. This was announced back in early spring, sometime around the end of April, beginning of May. They put it up for pre-order. I think I pre-ordered this May 5th, if memory serves me correctly. And of course there was some delays, but they just finally started shipping last week and I received mine this morning. Now, to me, this is a very important drone. Whether you're interested in this drone or not, the reason why I'm saying that is this is really going to force DJI's hand to improve the Mini 2. This is the very first sub 250 gram drone that has obstacle avoidance both on the front, rear, and of course on the underside. So with that, you know it's pretty well guaranteed that the Mini 3, when it does come out this fall, if it comes out this fall, which I'm pretty sure with all these new drones popping up, it's going to have obstacle avoidance on it as well, if they're going to want to compete with drones like this. Now, this is my very first Hubsan drone. I know they've had a spotty record in the past, but this drone actually looks to be pretty good. The specs on it are pretty impressive. It's a 4K drone. It's under 250 grams, so for those of you who want a sub 250 gram drone, that's very important. As mentioned, it has obstacle avoidance, it has follow me, and it also has object tracking, mission planning, and many other smart intelligent features. So this could really potentially force DJI to up their game quite a bit. So anyways, let's get into it. Like I mentioned, this is just going to be an unboxing video. If there's enough power in the batteries, I'm going to do a firmware update and we'll take a look at some of the software. If not, I'll do that later. But if this is a drone you are interested, make sure you're subscribed and you stick around, as I will be doing my first flight video tomorrow. We'll take it out for its very first flight and just do some basic testing with it. Now, a couple interesting things to note if you are going to be purchasing this drone. This drone does not actually have a memory card slot. You cannot use your own memory with it. You have to purchase it with its built-in memory, and it has two options. You can get 128 gigabytes of storage or 64 gigabytes of storage. Personally, I'm not a big fan of that because, you know, it's nice to have internal storage. You never have to worry about forgetting a memory card. But if you fill it up and you're out filming, you're going to have to find a convenient way to dump all that footage. Either bring a laptop with you or dump it over to your phone. But if you don't have a lot of storage on your phone, that's not an option either. I think they're doing that because one of the features of this drone is that the bitrate on it can get up to 200 megabits per second. So that's pretty high. So I'm wondering if that's why they want to make sure everybody's using nice fast memory. So by having built-in memory, they know that there's not going to be any problems with drop frames and stuff like that. So as you can see here with the particular kit that I bought, it does come with a nice little case. And it's very similar to the material that DJI uses with the Firmware combos with the Mini. As you can see here, this is the Firmware kit case that comes with the DJI Mini 2, the Air 2. You can see the material is very similar, and I actually really like it. It's kind of like a, it's not real leather, but it kind of has that look and feel. You can see it says Hubsan there on the front. We got a little storage pocket there, nothing in it. I went with the 2 battery combo, 128 gigabytes. You can purchase it as a base kit with 1 battery, or you can even purchase it with 3 batteries, and I believe up to 4 batteries. And each variation you can get as 64 gigabytes, or like I mentioned, 128 gigabytes. The base package is $499 with 1 battery at 64 gigabytes. I believe the 2 battery kit that I bought was around $579, something like that. So let's open it up here, and we'll take a look inside. We'll take the drone out first, and we'll take a closer look at it here in a minute. We got a charging brick. We have an intelligent flight battery. We have the charging hub, as you can see here. Now they're calling this their charging butler. And it's just like the DJI chargers. It will only charge 1 battery at a time. But when you have the batteries connected to it, it will become a power bank just like the DJI one. It does feel a little bit plasticky and on the cheap side, but that's okay as long as it works. And the other downfall to it is its micro USB. I wish companies would just stop using micro USB altogether. You can see we have the micro USB cable for charging everything up. These are what we use to connect the controller to the phone. We have USB-C, Lightning, and micro USB. User manual. Definitely probably a good idea. I'll take a look through that later. Screwdriver for changing out the propellers. We have another micro USB cable, and there's a divider down there that you gotta pull out with Velcro. And as you can see, here's the controller. And surprisingly, the controller feels pretty good. It looked kind of toy grade-ish in the photos, but it actually has some heft to it. And the plastic does feel a little bit nicer than some of the other controllers I have used in the past. You can see we have a tray here for our phone. So we'll take a look at that. sticks are stowed down there underneath. Yeah, so it looks pretty good. And you can see here, it actually has an LED screen on it that will have our telemetry data. So that's kind of a nice feature. We have our spare propellers. You can see there we have 2 packs are labeled A and B. That's basically everything that comes in the package. Let's take a look around the drone here. One interesting thing they have this plastic thing that you can take on and off. Basically, it's like a thing to protect you from the heat sink. I don't know if I'll use it myself when flying, but apparently that heat sink can get quite warm. You can see on the bottom here we have an LED light, and we have 2 vision sensors there. 2 on the front, and as you can see here, 2 on the back. Now as for build quality, I would say it's pretty well on par with the DJI Mini 2. The arms are nice and stiff. The plastic is decent. You know, it still kind of has that kind of toy grade feel to it, but the Mini does as well. It's not like holding something like the Air 2S or the Mavic 2 Pro. There is a memory card slot, but there's a little warning sticker that says memory card cannot be inserted here. Please remove this sticker before flying. That could be used for diagnostics or when they're flashing it. Or it could be connected to nothing. I'm not 100% sure. Because they do have another drone coming, the Mini SE, which is going to be basically a stripped down version of this one. With it, it doesn't have the internal memory, so it could be that they're using the same frame and they need a memory card slot on it there. There we have our camera there, and it is capable of 4K video. It's rated to have 40 minutes of flight time, which is pretty decent. Whether it will live up to that, you know, most drones don't get what they're rated as, but if you can get 30 minutes, 35 minutes out of it, you know, that's pretty good. It also has a 10-kilometer range. We may put that to the test later on. I'm not a person who really does range tests per se, especially those really long range ones. But, we'll see if we can figure out a way to do it safely and legally. Now, another interesting thing is that the FPV feed coming back to the controller in your phone is 1080. It has a bitrate of 20 megabits per second, and that's compared to the DJI Mini 2, which is only 720, and the bitrate on it, I believe, is only 8, so it's going to have a better feedback to your phone. It's going to have a night mode that will denoise the shots. Whether that's available yet, I'm not 100% sure. It has hybrid 6x zoom, and it supports YouTube live streaming. And just like the DJI Mini 2, it supports level 5 winds. You can see the battery loads there in the back. There's 2 little buttons you press, and it just slides out. Now this battery's only 2 lights on it. This one here looks like it's full, which is surprising. Usually they don't ship them full, but that's good because that means we can update the firmware and get things ready there. So let's go ahead and get things hooked up and powered up here. I'm going to be mounting my iPhone 12 Pro Max in there, so hopefully it'll fit. And one thing I'm noticing here, it's really hard to get those sticks out from underneath there. Yeah, that could have maybe been done a little bit differently, but it does work. So as you can see, the iPhone 12 Pro Max does fit in there just fine. If you do have a larger phone, you're not going to have a problem with it. So let's go ahead here and we'll get the data cable that we need. We need the Lightning version. So this is the one I need here, micro USB to Lightning. And the app we're going to be using there is called the Hubsan 2. Okay, let's go ahead. We'll power on the controller. It's pretty well just like a DJI drone. Quick press and then a press and hold. And same for the drone. Quick press and a press and hold. And you can see, just like the Mini 2 or the DJI products with the Fly app, the controller is charging the phone. Don't really like that. Hopefully there is a way to turn that off in the settings. Looks like we're all connected and you can see all the telemetry that does come up on the screen there. Let's go ahead and we'll launch the Hubsan app. And you can see there that it's picked the drone up right away and it wants us to activate it. Here's something interesting. One thing Hubsan did state, because of the delay of this drone, they're giving free Hubsan Care. And you actually get a message there as soon as you activated it. It says, thanks for your support. And now you are given a free Hubsan Care refresh. For details, refer to, and the web address. So that's kind of nice. I don't know how well their Care refresh is going to work, but that's a bonus, I guess. As soon as it went into the camera view, it's prompting us to upgrade the firmware. So let's go ahead and we'll see how that works. So we'll download the firmware files. And some of the features are not available yet. If you've been watching the videos that have been available on YouTube, some of them just say they're coming soon. Now, there's supposedly a firmware update coming on the 20th, which is tomorrow on Friday. And they actually put a message up when you go to the intelligent flight modes. I'll just throw that up on the screen here. And you can see, yes, indeed, it's giving you kind of a roadmap of when to expect some of these features. You can see the ones there at the top are coming on the 20th, and then they've got a few other ones listed below that. In that aspect, it's kind of nice. They're being very transparent and letting you know when some of these features will be available. So let's go ahead and we'll hit upgrade. Now at some point, it's going to ask us to disconnect from the remote and plug the cable directly into the drone. So it asked me to restart the remote, and then a message popped up asking me to now plug the data cable into the back of the drone. So that's what we're going to do now.
USB disconnected.
So we've plugged it in, and as soon as we plugged it in, the upgrade button highlighted. So now we can hit upgrade. It's going to ask us to download firmware files, so we'll go ahead and we'll download that now. So you can see there we now have a message saying that it's finished. So let's go ahead and unplug it, and we'll plug the controller back in. Now I can feel the drone there already getting quite warm when I unplug that cable. There's quite a bit of heat there. But it's not flying in the air. Once we have it in the air, it's going to help keep it cool. It's telling me right away that there is a compass calibration needed, but I'm not going to fly it right now, so I will do that later. And one interesting thing you're going to notice if you do end up purchasing this drone is that the FPV feed does not appear until you've taken off. As you can see right now, everything is black, and it will stay that way until you actually put it up in the air. Then the FPV feed will come in. I'm not sure why they've done that, if it's a heat issue or if it's a way to save battery. So yeah, I'm going to play around with that a little bit more. From what I'm seeing so far, it looks to be pretty adequate. The firmware updated with no issues. It was definitely not as streamlined as using something like a DJI drone, but definitely it wasn't too bad. As mentioned, there is going to be a big firmware update tomorrow that's going to add a lot of the missing features. Definitely stay tuned for that. We're going to be testing everything out fully and thoroughly. Hopefully the firmware update is available before I go for my first flight tomorrow. And yes, that is very hot. I'm going to turn that drone off. So that is the Hubsan Zino Mini. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I think this is a very important drone. Whether you're interested in a drone like this or not, it's definitely going to push DJI to really develop the Mini 3 when it comes out. If this drone does fly well and has a decent picture quality, this definitely can be a good contender, a good competitor for DJI, because it is packed full of features. The tracking and following feature is something that a lot of people want on a mini drone. So this is the very first mini drone, I do believe, that comes with a tracking feature like that, other than the Zino Mini, which I reviewed about a week ago. But it didn't have obstacle avoidance, so this is the first one with obstacle avoidance and tracking, so you know you can track safely. It is going to be really interesting to see what DJI's next move is, how they're going to counter this drone, but definitely they would be foolish to release the Mini 3 without some form of tracking and obstacle avoidance. Well folks, that's basically it for this unboxing video. If you are interested in this drone, definitely stay tuned. I'll be doing my first flight tomorrow morning probably, and I'll get that edited and uploaded sometime in the early afternoon. Of course, after that I'll dive in deeper. We'll really thoroughly test all the features, just to make sure everything is working as advertised, because that's an important thing. You know, if people are buying this drone because they want some of the intelligent flight features, they're going to want to make sure they work as described. Thanks a lot for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it useful and got some value out of it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.